What's going on, everyone? Mr. Octagonal here. Now today we are going to be rebuilding the Los Angeles Angels here on MLB The Show 19, but today it's going to be a little different, as unfortunately this past Monday, Angels pitcher Tyler Skaggs passed away. I send my condolences to Skaggs and his family and his friends. So for this rebuild, I decided to do something special in his honor, and that is that we will be making Tyler Skaggs into a full 99 overall. He's going to have 99 everything. Here you go. All 99. He also has all 99 hitting stats as well. So he's quite overpowered. And then if you compare him to Mike Trout, other than the bunting, Trout is definitely up there. He's quite close to all 99s as well. So looking at the rotation, obviously we're going to build around Skaggs. There's another talented piece in Shohei Ohtani. However, we will be trading Shohei Ohtani. The reason is because he's just so bad in the sim for whatever reason. I don't know why. And I will be showing a year-by-year recap of how Shohei has done in the sim. And I definitely made the right decision by trading him. Let's just say that. And then other than Trout and Skaggs, there aren't any great players we have to build around. Tommy La Stella's having a nice year. Andrelton Simmons is a good player, but there aren't many guys on this team who are legit guys, at least at the major league level. There are some talented prospects, Jahmai Jones, Kevin Maitan, Joe Adele, Griffin Canning. There are some good prospects, but on the major league level, outside of Trout and Skaggs, there's not much. So, Shohei Ohtani's headed to Toronto along with David Fletcher and Taylor Ward for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He developed so well in this game, and he's definitely going to be a great building block for this squad. And then Andrelton Simmons, Andrew Heaney, and Brian Goodwin will get us Luis Castillo, Raisel Iglesias, and an 8 potential pitching prospect. So welcome to the team, boys. And then Justin Upton, who's on a big contract, as well as Brandon Marsh, will get us Trevor Rosenthal. Sort of a gamble. He does have 8 potential, even though he's already 28. Maybe he'll be good for us. And then Zach Cozart, Dylan Peters, and Kenyon Middleton will get us Ken Giles from a Blue Jays talented closer. Could be a building block for the future. So looking at the lineup, there aren't many long-term building blocks. There's Albert Pujols, who's like 40 by now. But the only long-term building blocks are really Trout and Vlad Jr. And then of a rotation, we got a nice two-headed duo of Skaggs and Luis Castillo. We're also going to be running a 4-man rotation. I sort of wanted to try something a little bit different, something that I've never really done before. So I guess it's good to experiment. So looking at our draft, Josh Krause looks like a nice pick. I drafted the first 3 guys. Alberto Santana looks like a beast. And then I let the game do the rest. And they drafted as a pitcher named Alex Rodriguez, which is kind of funny. Hopefully this guy doesn't use steroids. Wink, wink. So we ended up going 80 and 82. Not great, but we did not expect to do great. We do not have a very solid team. So obviously that does miss the playoffs. And then looking at the stats, Mike Trout had a solid year. A little bit underwhelming for his standards. Nice season from Vlad Guerrero Jr. And then other than that, Jonathan Lucroy had a nice year. So did La Stella. And the bats weren't really bad, but just other than Trout and Guerrero, we really don't have too much. And then looking at the rotation, Tyler Skaggs, of course, was excellent. As Luis Castillo also had a very nice season as well, and the game made it into a 5-man rotation. It doesn't really matter. Not the end of the world. And then the relievers, not too shabby as well. Ken Giles, Raisel Iglesias, not too bad. So Tyler Skaggs does, of course, win the Cy Young Award. Very well deserved, as he had an incredible season. And he also went 2 for 7 at the plate, including a home run. So he hit a dinger. And then the Red Sox beat the Dodgers for the 2nd straight year in the World Series. So congratulations to them. So on to free agency, usual suspects. You guys know the drill with free agency. So the first guy we pick up is Garrett Cole to a big contract. And then we're immediately sending him, basically swapping him for Jameson Taillon. Cole Calhoun also in the deal, but basically swapping him for Taillon, who's pretty much as good, but Taillon's younger and then way cheaper. And then Luis Pena will get us an 8 potential prospect from the Cubs. MLB The Show logic for you. Guys who are drafted have like no value. So yearly Shohei Ohtani checkup, 8 and 18 with an almost 6 ERA, and that was one of his best seasons in the sim. So we signed Dallas Keuchel, we traded him and a few other guys for German Marquez from the Rockies. Then on to a Rule 5 draft. You guys know the drill. Starting off with Willie Calhoun, then Hunter Harvey. Once again, like free agency, it's the usual suspects. Lucas Sims as well. 8 potential guys who we can flip. And then Edgar Santana. 28 years old, 80 overall. He can be a really nice arm for this bullpen. So Rysel Iglesias, Hunter Harvey, and Cam Bedrosian will get us Tyler Naquin from the Indians. Really solid young outfielder who has a potential. Hopefully he can continue to progress. And then Jamie Berria, Will Wilson, and Jeremiah Jackson will get us Adalberto Mondesi from the Kansas City Royals. And then Lucas Sims and Willie Calhoun, two of the Rule 5 guys, will get us an A potential pitching prospect and Gatorol. And then Eddie Rosario, he's having an incredible year in real life for the Minnesota Twins. So welcome to the team, Mr. Rosario. And then we're trading Moustakas to the Marlins for Bobby Bradley. I had to do it because he's a channel legend. And then a B potential starting pitcher prospect. So, looking at the lineup, definitely more talented than it was last year. Those top 6 guys are all guys who we can look to build around for the future. And then the rotation, it also improved. Nice four-headed, however you would say it, of Tyler Skaggs, Jameson Taillon, German Marquez, and Luis Castillo. And then the bullpen is solid as well. Those 4 some are called a quartet, I just realized. So the 4 of them are called a quartet. So on to the draft, the game, once again, in the late round, simulated, and we got a guy named Chris Davis, which is kind of funny, and yes, his contact is actually lower than the Orioles' Chris Davis. So our AAA team wins the AAA championship, and the Major League team wins 105 games out of nowhere. This team is definitely better than last year, but are we 105 wins good? I don't know about that, but won't complain. Mike Trout with an MVP-like season. Vlad Guerrero Jr. is also great. Eddie Rosario is excellent as well. So, all around, everyone playing really well in the lineup. And then looking at the rotation, I assume much of the same. Of course, Tyler Skaggs went absolutely off. Sub-2 ERA, sub-1 whip. And at the plate, he hit 600, so MVP, am I right? And then the rest of the rotation outside of Felix Pena did good, but Pena's not really building blocks, so our big quartet all had a sub-4 ERA. Edgar Santana had a really nice year. Good to see him playing well. Trevor Rosenthal was awful. Luckily, only 17.2 innings, but still, he's not going to be back next year. So on to the playoffs. And this team has a legit chance to win the World Series. We did get the number 1 seed. And in the first round, we'll be taking on the wild card winning Boston Red Sox. Tyler Skaggs in Game 1, he gets us the win. And then we actually lose Game 2, which is a little bit scary. But we win Game 3, take control of the series, then we win in 4. Now time to take on the Cleveland Indians. Of course, we stole Tyler Naquin from them at the beginning of the year. Series tied at 1-1. Then we win the next game. German Marquez on the mound. We get the win. And then Tyler Skaggs will finish it off. And look who it is in the World Series. We're playing the New York Mets. If this is not a sweep, there is problems. Then we actually lose Game 1 somehow. And we lose Game 2. How are you losing in the World Series to the Mets of all teams? I don't know if there's any more dysfunctional teams in the major leagues. And sure enough, we lose in 6 to the New York Mets. That is as embarrassing as it sounds. Even the Marlins have a chance of beating the Mets in the World Series. Even the Orioles, that says something. So looking at the postseason stats, Guerrero, Trout, Naquin, all were really solid. Rosario and Bradley could have been better. Ugly postseason from Luis, however you say that name. And then looking at the rotation, Tyler Skaggs did his thing. Taillon was not great. Neither was Castillo. Marquez was solid. So it's pretty much just the Tyler Skaggs show of the pitching rotation. And then the bullpen was actually pretty underwhelming. Ken Giles not with a good postseason. Trevor Rosenthal didn't pitch, which is probably for the better. And then Edgar Santana actually had the closing role in the postseason. So on to free agency, of course, Mookie Betts is always a free agent here for Season 2 off-season. So obviously he is going to be a guy who we look to pick up. First things first, Trevor Bauer from the Cleveland Indians. He's immediately being flipped for Lourdes Gurriel Jr. and Felipe Lucero. Just getting guys who are nice trade bait for us. Probably don't need to build around Gurriel since we have talented outfielders. Then we signed Mookie Betts, and I've gotten him so much in the rebuilds that I'm starting to trade him now when I get him. And then we also signed Andrew Miller, the veteran reliever. So Trevor Rosenthal, Tommy La Stella, and Justin Bour will get us Daniel Espino, a really nice pitching prospect from the Cleveland Indians. He looks like a beast. And then we also signed Sean Doolittle. Hopefully he does not do little with us. That was corny. So Mookie Betts and Ken Giles will be traded to the Atlanta Braves for Ronald Acuna and Will Smith. upgrading relievers, and then we're getting a cheaper outfielder with more potential. So another checkup on Shohei Ohtani. He went 0-15. That's all you need to know. So we're also going to be getting Michael Fulmer from my Detroit Tigers, basically for Lourdes Gurriel and some prospects. So our rotation is looking really nice. I mean, Griffin Canning, Jahmai Jones, two really nice prospects, along with Adalberto Mondesi. We'll get his Gleyber Torres from the New York Yankees. So this team is really starting to look sexy. And then we don't really need Eddie Rosario anymore. Him and a few prospects. We'll get his Gary Sanchez from the Yankees, probably the best hitting catcher in all of baseball. And then we need a long reliever, so we're trading some pitchers, including Cody Allen, to get Marco Gonzalez from the Seattle Mariners, so he'll be the long reliever out of a bullpen. And then we need a first baseman. We're trading a lot here, giving up Joe Adele, but we're going to get Luke Voit, who now plays on the Mets instead of the Yankees. And I guess Pete Alonso will get his chance to start. And then another trade, we need someone in the middle of the infield, so we're getting Doel Lugo. There weren't many other options since we're broke. So welcome to the team, Doel Lugo. Had to trade Parker Birdwell in that deal. So this lineup is looking mighty, mighty fine. We got 9 guys who we can realistically build around for the future. Extremely talented players, adding Michael Fulmer to the rotation. This is a scary five-some, and then the bullpen also looks very nice as well. Gonzalez now a long reliever, adding Will Smith, Andrew Miller, and Sean Doolittle. So this team has World Series aspirations, and we win 122 games. That's an MLB record. That's the most wins I've ever gotten in a rebuild, and while this is a very good team, I've had better teams in the past, I'd say, so definitely good to see this team getting 122 wins. Trout was great. Vlad Jr. was great. Ronald Acuna was great. Everyone really did well for us. No one really struggled. Bobby Bradley's batting average wasn't great, but 22 home runs is not bad at the 8-hole. Tyler Skaggs was unstoppable. Jameson Taillon with a sub-2 ERA. Both of those two were probably the front runners for Cy Young. Castillo, Fulmer, and Marquez were also pretty good as well. And pretty much all the pitchers were good. No one with a higher than 4 ERA, which is incredible. Tyler Skaggs wins his first AL MVP and his 3rd straight AL Cy Young. So he's won the Cy Young every year of a rebuild, which is very good to see. Mike Trout actually won the MVP last year. And then, as you can see, 1, 2, and 3 for pitching wins in the American League. That is pretty cool. So we're going to be taking on the Tampa Bay Rays here in the first round, and we lose Game 1. Eek. That's not good, but we win Game 2, and then we lose Game 3. This is where it starts to get scary. Now going down to a Game 5, and we win. Thank goodness. Taking on the Boston Red Sox now in the ALCS, and we lose Game 1 at home, which is not good. Then we win Game 2, thank goodness, but we lose Game 3, down 2-1. No through-on lead jokes. Now we're up 3-2, but then we lose Game 6, and we lose Game 7. The Angels have choked a 3-2 lead against the Boston Red Sox, and then the Sox beat the Dodgers in the World Series for the 3rd season out of 4. Poor Dodgers fans, they'll just never get over the hump. Son of our Shohei Ohtani checkup, 2-21 with a 6.969 ERA. He has just been a disaster in Toronto. That Vlad Jr. trade turned out very well for us. So Season 3 free agency is extremely stacked. There are great players in here, so we want to trade some cap, as we're going to get Luis Severino and Anthony Swarzak from the Braves. Yes, Severino's on the Braves now. We did trade some talented pitchers away. And then we're going to be signing Francisco Lindor away from the Indians. We've been stealing everyone from the Indians in this rebuild. And then we're also signing JD Martinez, who's really good in the sim. I don't know how we have enough money to get all these guys, but somehow we do. It's the art of backloading contracts. And then Doel Lugo, we don't really need him since we have Lindor. We'll get us Diego Castillo. We traded some bullpen arms in that Severino deal. So looking at the lineup, we just added Francisco Lindor and JD Martinez. No big deal. The pitching rotation, we upgraded from German Marquez to Luis Severino. The bullpen did get a little bit worse, but we added Diego Castillo. And then we called up Alberto Santana, who we drafted a few years ago. So I think this team is definitely better than last year's. And should we win over 122 games? That's a let's see. We don't quite get to 122, but 116-46 is nothing to complain about. Looking at the numbers, Trout at the leadoff spot, 51 dingers. He absolutely dominated. Ronald Acuna now in 99 was great. JD Martinez with a bunch of home runs. Guerrero, for his standards, which are quite high, Gary Sanchez was great. Lindor, very solid. And then the rotation, Tyler Skaggs with another great season. He's starting to decline a little bit now, 30 years old, so we got to watch out for that. And then he's continuing to hit the ball well. Luis Castillo with another nice year. Fulmer was great. Taillon was great. Severino was very good as well. And then the bullpen, Gonzalez, Santana was great. Justin Anderson was not. Neither was Anthony Swarzak. So the bullpen definitely regressed from last year. Alberto Santana did not have a great rookie year, unfortunately. Will Smith was pretty good in the closer role. And then Tyler Skaggs wins his second straight MVP and his fourth straight Cy Young. So very good to see him doing well. And then once again, 1, 2, and 3 for our wins in the American League, which is quite cool. So taking on our rival, the Oakland A's, here in round 1. We lose game 1, but luckily we win games 2 and 3. And then we win game 4 to end the series. Taking on the Rays, who we beat last year in the ALDS, and they're going to try to get revenge on us. 2-2 now. We have home field now, 3-2. Can't choke another 3-2 lead. And we took another 3-2 lead. What do you know? So, unfortunately, our man Chris Davis retires due to ability. Come on, man. Wasn't a part of our future, but it was kind of funny. Next, Shohei Ohtani checkup. Record got better, but the ERA did not. 6.94. He has just been a disaster. So on to the next year, the core is pretty much identical. Didn't really make any moves this offseason. No need to because this team is stacked. And then in the bullpen, some small changes, but nothing too crazy. This is the exact same core from last season. Hopefully we can finally do the dang thing. So we actually regress a decent bit. Only 106 wins. Once again, nothing to complain about. We're still the number 1 seed. Mike Trout at the leadoff spot. A little bit underwhelming. The average was good, and as you can see, he is starting to decline, especially on the power end. Naquin with a solid year. Acuna was great. Martinez with almost 60 home runs, which is nuts. Vlad Jr. was good. Torres was good. Lindor was solid. So Trout is regressing, but the rest of his lineup is not. JD Martinez is insane. Luke Voit was not the starter for some reason in the rotation. Tyler Skaggs had another very solid year. He is really starting to regress, however, as he's still a 99, but he is starting to become more reasonable. And then the rest of the rotation was also really good. And then the bullpen, Justin Anderson with an ERA of basically 10. That is not good at all. So JD Martinez unsurprisingly wins MVP. Tyler Skaggs with his 5th straight Cy Young award. He has been absolutely nuts in this rebuild. Taking on the Houston Astros, divisional rival in round 1. Immediately lose the first 2 games at home. That's scary. Then the Astros just full on sweep us. We don't even get a postseason win this year. So on to the next season. This is really starting to get ugly. So Shohei's now a free agent. ERA above 7 now, which is very sad. He ended up signing with the New York Yankees. So on to the next year. Trout is regressing, now a 94 overall. He would continue to regress throughout the season. And then Tyler Naquin also regressing, still a 99 though. Fulmer catching up. He's now a 98. And the rest of the rotation is absolutely nuts. Daniel Espino, we got him a while ago from the Indians. He's the new long reliever. Other than that, once again, not too many changes to this core. So we win 118 games. Very, very solid indeed. Once again, the 1 seed for, I think, the 5th straight year. Trout now at 91. He is regressing like crazy. But the rest of his lineup, though, with a very nice year, of course, of a rotation. Tyler Skaggs is now a 94 overall. He went down by 5 ratings, which is absolutely nuts. His ERA above 3, but still, Tyler Skaggs pitching at an elite level. Will Smith, excellent year for closer. So, Tyler Skaggs' streak of being the Cy Young is over, but luckily, it goes to a different LA Angel, Luis Castillo, so at least it was someone on our team. And then we're just going to sim the offseason. Hopefully it brings us good luck, but we get eliminated by the Indians. I guess we're salty that we stole all of their players. So at this point, all of our good players are free agents. We have, no money, and if the team we've had is unable to win a World Series, I don't know how this one will. Really wanted to win a World Series for Skaggs, but unfortunately, it was unable to happen. Skaggs did beast in the rebuild, and then one final look at Shohei Ohtani for the memes. He had his best season, now at 99 overall, but I'm very happy we traded him for Vlad Jr.